So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So first of all, Sevinç, Güler, thank you for joining the class. Thank you for being here today. And I am so happy that you have agreed for this video to be published on YouTube. So today's conversation class is going to be about communication and communication skills in general. So I have a few questions here that I have got for you, and I'm going to kick off the conversation with the first question here. So I'll start with you, Güler. What do you talk about when you first meet people? What do you talk about when you meet new people?
Actually, it depends where I meet these people, who are them for me. For example, if it's the work, maybe it's my future colleagues, maybe I will start with their education, their specialty, interest, in what they are interested, in which specialties, and university. Maybe we study in the same years. Maybe I know. Maybe we have some relevant or how to
Things
say,
in common,
friends.
right? Friends in common, right? Common interests.
Yeah, in common. Yeah. That's yeah. I think I'll generally I start with this.
Awesome. Great. Yeah. So I like what you mentioned there, that it really depends on the setting, right? It depends on whether or not it's a professional setting, a personal setting. And yeah, depending on that, you start building a conversation around what the setting is. I'm gonna jump on to the next question, and this one is going to be for Sevinç. Sevinç, what is the best way to get to know people? What is the best way to get to know someone?
Okay, it is my opinion that there are many best ways for to get for communication with people. One of these join for voluntary, and second join an amateur sports. Thirdly, join for some sports club or some cultural clubs, and also join a gym.
Yeah, I really like what you mentioned there. I think that to be able to meet people, you have to make some type of an effort, right? Then you have to pick a setting. If you're trying to make friends, you can join a club. If you're trying to meet someone, you can go on a dating app. So I really like the points that you've mentioned there, Sevinç. Thank you for sharing. I'm going to move on to the next question for Güler. Güler, what do you think is a good way of making a good first impression, or how do you make a good first impression?
I think for first impression, it's mainly we should have a smile on our face, a little bit smile, not to be strict. If we are strict, then maybe the other person which is the stranger for us, she or he don't want to start conversation with us evenly. And yeah, I think smiling is the first and one of the main things. And to be more friendly, to be more honesty maybe also will help during impression. Not lying, or I don't know, something, adding some it's some information which we don't need during first conversation or impression. Yeah, I think
Correct.
enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really like how you mentioned body language, correct? It's important to have the right body language, to have a friendly, positive
Yeah.
attitude. And I like how you mentioned honesty as well, because we do want to be honest and frank with people up front so that they're not disappointed, so to say, in us later on.
Yes.
We want to be our best selves, but we also want to be our real selves with people, correct?
Yes, 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 like
Yeah,
exactly.
I like that. I like that a lot. What about you, Savinch? What do you think about first impressions? Are first impressions
Yes.
important? Or is it important to give people a second chance for a second best
Okay.
impression?
I think that for getting first impression, it is also important addressing dress. Also, be empathetic. It is also very important, and be honest. Other important thing, and positive, good body language. It is also impact our conversation
Yeah.
impression. Yes.
Absolutely. I do agree with that. There is a saying that you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but I also do think that there is time and place for everything. For example, if you're showing up for work on your first day and you're trying to make a good first impression, you have to be dressed properly, correct? You cannot be showing up in like a t-shirt and jeans. So I really like how you mentioned a dress code as well, Savinch. So great answers. I am going to move on to the next question. And our next question is, what do you prefer talking about in your circles with your family and friends, Güler?
Sorry, what I prefer to talk about? You mean in which topics? Yes.
With your friends and family.
If it's my friends, which I know, maybe it can be about how I spent my day, or how about my work, and I don't know what can I add for this. Yeah, everything what happened during day with me, I will share with them, with my family and friends also. Or maybe if I found something new, for example, new book or new movie which we can watch or read, I will share with them. I'll also I will ask about their days.
I think, Güler, you froze there for a little bit. I think Güler froze there for a little bit, but I'll take over from here. I like how she mentioned the fact that she likes to talk about the day-to-day aspects of her life with her friends, but she also likes to ask them about their lives and their day-to-day and the aspects of their day-to-day lives. I'm not sure if Güler is going to join back. It looks like she has frozen. Sevinç, would you like to move on? Was the next question?
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's good.
I ask them what they do with their life, but don't be specific. And what about I speak with my family, in relation with my family? I prefer speak about my future plans, or some problems in our life, also about my work, and some other important things.
Yeah, that's great. And I do believe that depending on the type of a relationship that you have with your friends and family, these topics can vary, correct? You could talk about your friends about something that you would not want to discuss with your family. So I like how you mentioned, Sevinç, the word relationship, right? Depending on the relationship that I have with my friends or family. Sevinç, Güler, welcome back. No worries. My next question is
Sorry.
no worries. Yeah.
Mhm.
I was just telling Sevinç that I really like how you mentioned the fact that you like to talk about the aspects of your day-to-day life with your friends, but you're also interested in getting to know them better. You're interested in knowing how they are doing in their day-to-day lives. My next question is, what do you absolutely hate talking about with your colleagues, friends, or family?
It is a specific about a specific part of life. I don't speak. I don't speak about my specific part of my life because it is only myself life, and I don't like share this with my friends. I can share these problems only with my husband.
Right. There are some topics that are very personal, correct?
Yes,
Very
very personal.
personal. Yeah, and we like to protect our privacy, and so we don't reveal everything to our friends and family. Good point, Sevinç. Güler, what do you hate talking about with your friends or family?
Yeah. I agree with Sevinç. It's also for me the personal topics, personal problems maybe, or some personal things for my life. For example, it also can be, for example, salary questions. I don't know, something like this. If I want, I will share with them. If I want to tell them about this, but it depends on me. I hate. I will maybe hate if someone will ask about me about this of me. Yeah, this personal questions, which about the family. I don't know. I will hate to speak about this.
Correct. So depending on how you feel, correct? Depending on how I feel, I think that was a good point that you rely on your own choice as per depending how I feel about revealing these details. I might or might not talk about it. But yeah, like income and relationship status, personal issues.
Yeah.
These could be some
Yes.
very private areas of our lives that we don't want to discuss with others. I personally hate discussing my relationships and my personal life with my family, because then there's always these questions. Oh, how's it going? Are you guys still together? When are you getting married?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, it's best not to talk about it.
Yes, yes, I agree.
Yeah. I'm gonna jump on to the next question. Sevinç, what must people do in order to get good at talking with people? What can we do to be good at talking with people?
Okay. Firstly and foremost, I think that they must listening. Listening is a very important part of effective communication.
Correct.
Yes, yes. A good listener can encourage their partner for good communication
Correct.
and for honest, for to be honest.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah, very good point. I think that this is not something that a lot of people would mention first, listening, but I do believe it's a very important aspect of building communication, because the more you listen, the more you get to know about the other person. And then the more you're able to emphasize with them and then create this feeling of bonding, correct? Yeah, great point. What do you think?
And yes, secondly, keep eye contact, comfortable eye contact. Yes, it is also integral part of good communication.
Great point. Great point.
Yes.
Awesome. Pilar, what do you think?
I agree. I now agree with Sevinç, and I will add some more. I think honesty also will be good during conversation, not to seem like someone, not to be real and honest, and also maybe I had some in my mind, but I forget what I want to add about this question.
No worries.
Yeah, just like this, honesty, listening, of course, to listen. Yeah, and maybe during conversation, we should show how it's interesting for us to continue this conversation. Just it's not the just it's interesting to show it in order to continue conversation.
Yeah, great point. I like how you mentioned that it is important not to pretend to be someone else while building relationships with new people, because the more honest and ourselves, the more real we keep it, the easier and more natural and organic it's going to be to build this relationship, correct, to establish it and then to maintain it. Great points. So when I meet new people, what I try to do is I try to find things that we have in common. And then I start the conversation bouncing off of the things that we have in common. And then one thing I've learned from my partner, Taylor, is that when he asks me a question, he realizes that's not something that we have in common. He just starts asking me more questions about it. He's like, okay, this is something that I know nothing about, but I'm interested. So like you mentioned, Güler, he shows interest, correct, in understanding something that I know and he doesn't. Yeah, great points. I have another question for you guys. What is bad communication in your opinion? What can be considered bad communication, Sevinç?
Bad communication, firstly, it is a negative body language. First, second, interrupting during speaking. Also has poor listening skills, and I think that and some other negative things.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah, great points. What do you think, Güler?
Maybe to be strict during a conversation, or to ask more questions, personal questions also, and not maybe we should respect our meanings, our points, and if the other person mainly do some irrespectful things, it also will be bad during conversation. For example, not stopping to saying, no, you are not right, something like this. Just to be respectful during conversation.
Correct. Great point. I think that it is important to be honest in our conversations, but it's also important to disagree respectfully if we disagree with each other, and to be accepting of each other's points of view. Yeah, great points.
Not be arguable.
What was it?
Not be arguable.
Yeah, not to argue, but rather discuss things.
Yeah, discuss,
Okay.
not saying that not you are not right or it's bad, like strictly.
Yeah,
Maybe discuss just
to be accepting, right? To be accepting, to be open-minded are good.
Also pay pay attention. This some people cannot pay attention during speaking others or distractive others.
Correct. Good point, Savinch. I think that also goes into being a good or a bad listener. If you're listening to someone and you're paying attention to the things that they're saying, and then you're able to relate to them a lot more and to expand on those areas. That is correct. I have another question for you guys. How can good communication make our lives easier? Güler, did you want to get started with this one?
Maybe, yes, I'll start. I think in general, communication is very one of the main parts during our life. If the people communicate with them, with each other, they will share their meanings, maybe some problems or some things which make them bad, upset, and during sharing, they can help each other to be more good in good, how to say, in good, not to be upset. Yeah, that's why it's very important for everyone to have communication. Yes.
What are some other aspects of, what are some other advantages of having good communication skills? What are other areas of our lives that can be improved by good communication?
We can get more about maybe knowledge about some subjects, to get more information. For example, if the two person which work in different how to say,
Fields.
yes, in different fields, they will share with each other, yeah, and get more knowledge about their fields.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And it's called knowledge transfer, correct? When we come across people that are from different backgrounds, cultures, professional fields, when we talk to them, we're able to transfer this knowledge, to exchange. Yeah, great point, Güler. Sevinç, what do you think about it? Do you remember the question, or would you like me to remind you? I think you were talking about how can good communication make your life easier?
Okay, if we are a good communicator, it help us in our life as in family relationships and also in our workplace. It help us.
Correct. Yeah, it helps us
Many different items. It helps us in many different items.
I agree with that, Sevinç. It helps us build better relationships,
Yes.
right? It helps us with knowledge transfer. We get to bond with people, and that helps us feel better. Yeah, great points. I am gonna go ahead my next I'm gonna go ahead with my next question. Do you talk about your feelings a lot? Güler.
Yes, I talked about this more. It can be about the very different topics. As I mentioned before, it may be what feelings which I had during the day. I will share, for example, with my family, with my sister. Maybe I will start from the beginning of the day and talk about all the feelings. Maybe it can be stress or happy things, or things during which I was happy. Yeah, I like to share this, and mostly I like to share more the good things in order to make the other person also happier. How to say, not talking about the bad things.
Good point. Yeah, you seem like a very caring person, Güler. You always talk about yourself, and then you talk about others. You talk about how others make you feel, and then how you make others feel. And I really like that about you. Yeah, Sevinç, what about you? Do you like to talk about your feelings a lot?
Usually, I share my feelings with my husband, and afternoon after work, what about I speak with them about my daily life, and about my work, and my problems, and he try help me in solving my problems.
Yeah, that's a great point. And it is true, when we share our feelings with our friends or family members, they can give us feedback, or they can share their feelings or their experiences with us, and we can learn from that. Yeah, I'm someone who talks about their feelings a lot. And I think that you've noticed that on YouTube. I'm always talking about my feelings. And I've noticed that people love listening to someone talk about their feelings because it helps them emphasize a little bit more. It makes people feel like they're not the only ones experiencing those feelings. All right. Okay. Do you guys like talking about your future plans with people, or do you like to keep your future plans to yourselves?
Maybe I will start. Yes. Before, I preferred to talk about my future plans, and I had plans before. But then I recognized that planning is not for me, and even when I talk, that it doesn't work also. And then I stopped this. When I plan something, I keep in my mind, keep it with myself, and actually I try to not doing plans because they don't work. Yeah, but if I had some plan, I will keep it with myself. Maybe I will share just with one person, or I don't know, just like with my sister, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, planning can be a little tricky, and sharing about your plans can be a little tricky because things don't always go as expected. And life is making life is happening while you're planning things, and life happens while you're planning other things. So I totally understand. And I think that sometimes sharing our plans with a lot of people can put a lot of pressure on us to make those things happen or to follow through, because people will start asking questions like, oh, I remember us talking about it. How are you doing? Are you still going to do it? Yeah. And then if things
maybe
don't
for some,
go ahead.
Sorry, I interrupted.
No, go ahead.
Maybe for some people it's good when they have pressure, they will do it. They have motivation for doing this. Maybe for some people it will work.
Yeah, I agree. Some people need that pressure. I think I used to be like that. I was like, if I want to get this thing done, I need to tell people about it, and then I'll do it for sure, because I've told everyone about it and now it needs to happen. But it's not the best way to go about life, but I used to do that when I was younger. What do you think, Sevinç, about talking about the future plans?
I absolutely agree with Güler and with you about it doesn't work. But now I try don't pay attention to this and sometimes I share my future plans with my colleagues, but now I try don't share this my future plan. I only share this only with my husband because I know that he want me all happiness and all goods.
Correct. Yeah, you want to share your future plans with someone who wishes well for you, someone who you trust. And our colleagues, we may not have that close of a relationship with them, and our colleagues may not always want the best.
Yes.
In a competitive environment, right?
Yes. I want to say that some people are jealous.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
It is a negative side of many people.
Right. It's all the
Unfortunately, yes.
You're drawing all the negative energy and then your plans don't happen. I developed this attitude over the past few years when I plan for something, when I plan and I share my goals or future plans with people. I always tell myself that it's either going to happen as I wish for it, or it's going to be better than I wish for it. And that mindset has helped me a lot with dealing with a change of events, change of plans, unexpected situations. Because I try to convince myself that everything that happens for the best. If it doesn't go as planned, it's for the best.
Yes. Unexpected situations can change our plans during maybe some 1 hour or maybe some minutes.
Yeah, great points. I wanted to move on with my next question. And my next question is, what are some advantages or disadvantages of being bilingual or trilingual? Because a lot of people in Azerbaijan are trilingual, correct? They speak Russian, Azerbaijani, Turkish, and they're learning English on top of that. So what are some advantages and disadvantages of having all these languages in your repository?
I think there is no any disadvantages. I think there is just advantages. and to know more people, to get more friends, to learn more. For example, during searching in internet, we can find more information in different languages, and it will be very helpful. And I did it during my study also. I always find information in different languages and study it. And during work also, maybe we can work with foreigners in different companies with foreigners and abroad also. Yeah, that's why I think there's just advantages.
Yeah. I like the only disadvantage that I've experienced with knowing so many languages is that my brain is always working on fan mode, and I'm constantly trying to switch from one language to another. And this constant especially if I'm hanging out with someone whom I know speaks all of the languages that I speak, I'm like, okay, I need to make up my mind. What language are we going to speak now? So that's been the only thing for me. And another disadvantage for me, I don't know if this is a disadvantage or not, with every language, we acquire a culture, and then we carry that culture over with ourselves to different countries, places, careers. And then because we have all these cultures now, we want to experience it all. We want to have it all at all times. And it's hard to connect with people that don't share the same languages or the same culture. That was a very long sentence. But Sevinç,
it's interesting.
Yeah, what is your opinion?
Oh, okay. I think that as every role is accompanied by its tones, this issue also has some benefits and drawbacks. But benefits outweighed their drawbacks. First and foremost, is that being bilanguage or being knowledge of many languages, it is better side of individual, because we can communicate with different cultures, with pupils from different cultures, and we can use these languages in our studies or during our traveling to different abroad to different countries. From the other side, we can spend more of years from our life for learning these languages.
Yeah.
This drawback.
Correct.
Yes.
It takes a lifetime.
Yes, our
right?
life. Yes,
Yeah,
okay.
If you weren't born into it, like we were in Azerbaijan, we were born into Turkish, we were born into Russian, and we were exposed to these languages through TV and media and all that.
Yes.
Yeah, if you're not born into it, you really struggle. Like Taylor is really struggling with learning Azerbaijani.
For example, yes.
For an American to learn a new language is a big struggle. Go ahead.
Yes, for example, in our country, we for understanding English very well, we must communicate with English people. But we in our country, we surrounded only Azerbaijan people, and most of them don't know English language, and it gets us so many problem. Yes.
Yeah. It makes it even more challenging to learn a new language, right? If you're not in that environment. Yeah.
Yes.
I agree. Yeah, it does take a lifetime to learn a language. It is difficult to switch between all these languages. And it's difficult to acquire the culture behind the language if you're not in that environment.
Yes.
How many languages do you guys speak?
I speak Russian, Azerbaijan, now English, and Persian.
Wow.
Yes, Persian. Okay, yes.
Wow. What about you, Güler?
For me too, it's Azerbaijan, Russian. I can add Turkish also. It's nearly the same as Azerbaijan. That's why. And English in how I speak now, in that level.
Yeah, no, your English is great, Sevinch. Your English is great too. You guys are doing awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna move on with the next question. So how important is communication in a business environment, in a professional environment? Did you want to go ahead, Güler?
Yes, I am thinking about this. Maybe if it's like a teamwork, I think, for example, how the teamwork is very important during our work life. The communication is also very important. If we will communicate good with our colleagues, we will do our work better. For example, if work is for 2-3 people, if they will communicate during this work with themselves, with each other, they will do this work better in order to know, for example, which way is the best for doing this work. I don't know, to get more knowledge, information about this. And during the communication, they can help to each other. It will be more productive work, I think.
I agree. And I think that having good communication skills in a business environment will also help us expand our network, meet more people, and
Yes.
develop our own skills and relationships. What about you, Sevinch?
It is my opinion that it is integral part of global trading. Yes. Using English language because many people in Europe and other countries like as Australia, like as India, like as China, and like as Canada, like as USA, they all are speaking in English, and this English language is an integral part of global trading, and it can help to development of business environment.
True.
Yes.
For sure. I agree with you. I think that if you are working in a professional environment in a non-English speaking community, you can only go so far, right?
Yes.
You can only go so far. Once you add English onto that, you're opening up 100 more doors, 100 more doors to thousands of more opportunities for yourself. And as you mentioned, Güler, earlier, when we started, Googling things, right? Finding information, having access to information. Speaking English gives you first-hand access, direct access to everything and its origin. Right. I think that that's a very good point. And also, if you are one of the few English speakers at work, you can help your company expand its horizons abroad, become international, open up to international clients, whatnot.
Yes, yes. Good point also.
You can start an international department within your company, or you can live in Azerbaijan and start an online business in a different country. There's just so many things that you could do.
Excuse me. Also, I want to add that in my everyday life, I use English language for read many articles, medical articles, and last research articles from PubMed sites.
Yeah.
It is very important in my research. In my investigation.
Very good point. Because a lot of that information is not available in our own language. It's not available in Azerbaijani, or by the time it gets translated into Azerbaijani, that piece of information becomes outdated. So
yes.
You want to be the first person to find out about things. You want to be one of the first to discover things, correct? Great points. My next question is, what kind of problems do you think you have with your own communication skills? What are some areas that you think you can improve?
In English language?
Sure, we can talk about communicating in English, but we could also talk about communication in general. But if you feel more comfortable talking about communication specifically in English, we can also stick with that. Is that easier? Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Güler, what kind of communication issues do you have in English?
Okay. Exactly for English communication, I always forget words. I remember these words in other languages, exactly in Russian, and I always forget the meaning of this word in English. I try to remember, but during how I try more, and that the result that I can't remember this word. It's the one of the most main problems for my communication in English. And I also want to add that as a person, I am not so communicative person. It doesn't depend on the language, but it also make a problem for English communication also. For example, I can't during meeting new people, conversation is always started by the other side, not by me. And it's also, as I said, makes problem for English conversation also. Communication.
I understand. Yeah, it's challenging for you to initiate a conversation. It sounds like. Are you an introvert, Güler?
I am ambivert. In my as a person, I am nearly extrovert, maybe 55% extrovert, but not for communication.
Okay, I see. Yeah, does it depend on the language or the setting that you're in?
No, I think it depends firstly on the person with whom is this conversation, and then on the language. Yes, language also.
Got it. Yeah, that remembering words, that happens to me a lot. But my problem is that I can't remember the word in any of the languages that I know. So I'm just blanking out. Like, yeah. So that happens to me a lot. What about you, Sevinç? What are some areas that you would like to improve?
Okay. Firstly, I think that for good English, for being good English speaker, we must think in English.
Mm.
This is first, and it depends. Also, we must many vocabulary, academic vocabulary words, but it is very difficult to remember it. But I try now, and every day after work, I work in my English.
Great. So you work on trying to improve your English. Yeah, I think that with enhanced vocabulary, the most challenging part is starting to integrate the words that you have learned, because you can have this huge database of these fancy words in your database, in your brain, but then it takes a while to start integrating them, right? I feel like in terms of starting to think in English, what has helped me a lot as a kid, I started learning English when I was 13. So do you guys know those conversations that you're having with yourself in your mind, like those thoughts that are constantly on your mind? The best way to start thinking in English is to start having those conversations with yourself in English. Like a lot of people are overthinkers, right? They're overthinking some area of their lives. So it's good to start having those conversations with ourselves in English first, and then over time it shifts into thinking in English.
When I speak with myself in English, it seems to me like I am a native English person, that I speak very good, but in reality, yeah.
But your English is great. I mean, I feel like in our heads, we always sound better to ourselves than we do when we hear ourselves. And I think that's normal, because the way we sound in our own heads will differ from the way we sound in reality. So that's completely normal. Like that's why a lot of people struggle with listening to themselves after delivering a speech, watching themselves in a video. They're like, oh my God, I can't believe that's me. Right? I sound so weird. Yeah. Great conversation. So I just wanted to ask you guys a couple questions here. What do you think dropping someone a line means? What does it mean to drop someone a line?
Interrupt? You mean interrupting?
Let me ping it in the chat. So for example, if I say, Səviyyəni,
drop someone a line.
Yeah, drop me a line.
Okay, drop someone a line. I think that means dropping on sofa, maybe.
So dropping someone a line means like send me a short message. For example, I know that you'll be busy and I know that you'll be traveling, but please drop me a line when you get home. Means send me a short message that says, I got home, I'm safe.
Okay.
Yeah, drop me a line.
Drop me a line.
What do you think let the cat out of the bag means? Let the cat out of the bag.
Maybe even someone keeps some secret or some word with themselves they don't want to share, and we say, let the cat out. Yeah.
The bag.
Yeah, she accidentally let the cat out of the bag, right? Okay, what do you think spill the beans means, Səviyyəni? To spill the beans.
Spill the beans.
So to spill the beans means you were trying to keep it a secret, but accidentally you revealed information. So you spilled the beans. You did it unintentionally. Yeah, you should never share a secret with me because I'll spill the beans and then everyone will find out. Yeah, I wanted to wrap up the conversation with my last question to you guys. Do you think that technology has a big impact in how communication has changed and evolved? Did you want to start, Güler?
It had. Yeah, I think the real conversation start to be less than the conversation during some technology, some social networks, for example. It's bad, I think. It will make the people not to be real. Maybe.
I see your point. Right. So technology has definitely affected us in some negative ways where interpersonal relationships, conversations that happen under offline circumstances have become less relevant than conversations that happen online. Correct? What do you think, Səviyyəni, about the impact of technology on our communication?
Yeah, also we can meet some wrong people from internet, from chats, and but from the other side, communication by internet, some people, for example, children spend more time in iPhone, and they damage their health. Also can affect their mood, behavior from negative sides.
Correct. Yeah, I do definitely think that because it is hard to get to know someone online because you're e-meeting them, correct? You're not meeting them in real life, you're e-meeting them. So it's hard to get to know the person that way. And we have higher chances of running into people that are imposters, they're not real, this could be a fake account, whatnot. And there have been advantages of it too, though, right? For example, it's made it possible for us to connect on Zoom from across the ocean, from 2 different time zones and 2 different continents. We're able to connect. So there've definitely been advantages of it as well.
Yes, benefits also.
Yeah. Would you want to go back to the times when things
Thank you.
you want to go back to the olden days when we didn't have Zoom or would not be able to connect?
I know, for me, no.
Yeah, I would not want to go back to that because I've been able to meet so many people just from the comfort of my home, and I feel like it's just eliminated all the boundaries that used to exist. Yeah. We've had such a great conversation. You guys were so great. I loved everything that you have shared with me. Thank you one more time. Yeah, for being here. Do you guys have any questions for me before we wrap up?
Thank you for your useful lesson. Thank you.
It was interesting and enjoyable for us too.
Absolutely. I hope to see you guys again soon. I'm going to try and have these bonus classes every once in a while. Yeah, I wish you guys all the best, and I hope we can reconnect as soon as possible.
Yes.
Thank you.
Take care. Have a good rest of the day. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. You too. Bye.